Have you ever stopped and thought about the person you were, say, 10 or 12 years ago? All those things you said online, the jokes, the arguments. You're probably a totally different person now. But what if I told you that old version of you, your digital ghost, is still out there, and it could be about to get the current you into some very, very serious trouble?
Right? You've grown up, your views have changed, maybe your job, your whole perspective on the world has shifted. The person who posted that edgy comment back in college, that person doesn't even exist anymore.
And that's the kicker. That version of you is perfectly preserved, kind of frozen in digital amber. Every word, every picture, every rant you've long forgotten, it's just sitting there, waiting. Look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi idea. The legal ground is shifting as we speak, and a post you don't even remember writing could become Exhibit A in a federal case. The answer to that question is a deeply unsettling yes, and we're going to break down exactly how. Okay, so let's get into it. You know, most crimes have a statute of limitations, right? An expiration date. But what happens when the crime scene is the internet, a place that literally never forgets? Well, you get this wild idea called the continuing publication theory, and it completely flips the script. Think of it like this. If you leave a dangerous object in a public place, the crime isn't just dropping it there. Every single second it remains there, you're continuously creating a danger. That's the argument here. If you made an illegal post in, say, 2016, and it's still online today, in the eyes of some prosecutors, you're not just guilty of something you did in the past, you are committing that crime right now. Just think about what that means. Every time someone refreshes the page, every new view, that could be seen as a new instance of the crime. Under this theory, the statute of limitations clock doesn't just get reset, it never even starts ticking. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. That seems impossible, right? We're talking about billions upon billions of posts. How on earth could anyone find one bad comment you made when you were a teenager? Well, here's the thing, they don't have to. Algorithmic policing does the heavy lifting. AI tools are constantly scanning public archives, looking for keywords, even for certain types of images or visual tropes associated with crime. When they get a hit, boom, an automatic preservation request goes to the platform. And here's the really scary part. Even if you get notified and rush to delete that post, the platform is already legally required to save a perfect copy, what the source material calls a ghost copy, for the authorities. It's already too late. So we know they have these powerful ways of finding old posts. But which posts are actually illegal? I mean, we have the First Amendment, right? Free speech. Well, yeah, but that protection isn't a blank check. There's a very real line in the sand. You can be harsh. You can have controversial opinions. You can even say things that are pretty offensive. The law protects all of that. What it does not protect is speech that crosses over into being a crime. Things like true threats, trying to incite violence, fraud, or obscenity. Those aren't just opinions anymore. They're considered actions that cause real harm. And this right here, this is the legal concept you really need to understand. The true threat. This is where most people get tripped out by their digital ghosts. And listen to this part carefully. It's not about what you meant when you typed it. It's about how a reasonable person, seeing those words years later, would take them. The courts will look at the context, the words you used, everything, to decide if you were just blowing off steam or if it reads like a genuine plan to hurt someone. And these aren't just vague ideas. They are tied to serious federal laws. Whether it's making a threat across state lines, cyberstalking, trying to get someone else to commit a crime, or running a scam, there is a specific statute and serious prison time attached to that click of a button. You know, you might wonder why this happens so often. This quote from a communications professor really just nails it. The screen creates this distance. It doesn't feel real. So people type things they would never, ever dream of saying to someone's face, completely forgetting that the legal consequences can be exactly the same. So let's make this real. This isn't just legal theory. We're going to look at a couple of actual cases where a few taps on a keyboard led to federal charges, turning online posts into very real crimes. So here's a classic example. After an election, a 73-year-old man posts what he probably thought was just him venting his political frustration. But the words he used were specific, they were violent, and they were aimed at a public official. The result? A federal indictment. And the stakes here are just incredibly high. Each count against him carried a potential sentence of 5 years. 5 years in a federal prison for a single online post. Let that sink in.
All right, now for a totally different kind of case. This wasn't about a direct threat. This was about hoaxes. A teenager, hiding behind an online username, set up a massive swatting campaign. We're talking more than 375 times. This teenager's online actions sent heavily armed police tactical teams bursting into the homes of completely innocent people. It created absolute terror and put lives at risk. What might have started as an online prank turned into a major federal crime with devastating real-world consequences. Okay, this is all pretty intense, I get it. So let's switch gears. What if this actually happens to you? What if federal agents show up at your door asking about something you posted years ago? What you do in the next few minutes is absolutely crucial. First, stay calm, seriously. Panicking and getting defensive will only make things worse. Second, and this is the most important piece of advice I can give you, do not volunteer information. Don't explain the post, don't justify it, don't try to talk your way out of it. You simply state that you will not answer any questions without your lawyer present. It's your right, use it. Now, I have to give you a huge warning here. Your first gut reaction might be to go and scrub all your social media accounts. Do not do this. If you know you're under investigation, deleting posts can lead to a brand new and often much more serious charge, obstruction of justice. It might be hard for them to prove your old post was a crime, but it's super easy to prove you deleted it right after they talk to you. And that really brings us right back to where we started. We have to stop thinking about our past online activity as some faint trail that fades away. It's not. It's a permanent library of everything we've ever said online, and the doors to that library are open 24/7. So here's the final thought, the big takeaway. Before your finger hits that post or send button, just stop for 1 second. Ask yourself this one simple question, because one day, in the not-so-distant future, a judge just might be